All right, y'all. Welcome in to season two. I'm just calling it season two. It's really arbitrary, but season two of Scattered Thoughts. Um, I did debut a one of the last videos from what I'm kind of considering season one. The one on fear of missing out, FOMO. If you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. But welcome into the next season. Again, it is season of the Seraph. If you are listening to this, season of the Seraph just started last week. So this is technically the first one of a new season. So I'm calling it season two. Anyways, that's enough in the intro. But yes, welcome to Scattered Thoughts, where I Sky, you give me 10 minutes, I give you some thoughts, some scattered thoughts, and this is the part of the community content I provide where we invite comments, discussions. If you've never been here before, there's a great opportunity to just dive in, ask for clarification, add on to the conversation. We really want to be in the practice of, having healthy dialogue, whether you agree with what I'm saying or not. And today, I thought to kind of start off the new season, to start off kind of thinking through everything that's really been hitting me. One of the things that kind of surfaced to the top of mind was this idea of failing in public. Again, I'll say it, a feeling in public. It's been really an interesting journey for me. For those who've been following the channel, you know that I do have a 9 to 5 job because that's the way I pay my bills, and I'm able to, feed and take care of myself. Um, and being able to jump into content creation over this past year, both with like streaming. I just stream a little bit. I do plan on coming back to streaming soon. But then also content creation and kind of building up the YouTube channel and then some other content I've been putting out. It's been really an interesting journey to be doing that within the Destiny 2 community. And the reason why I say that is that what kept me away from content creation in this specific community before, I'm not necessarily like new to content creation. I've been on like friends podcasts before, like I've done on end things, but this is kind of like my first like thing for myself, right? But what kept me away for so long is having played the game for 6.5 years, at this point, like going on 7 years. I've seen so many people who just were perfection, right? Just pure perfection. You turn on, Twitch, you turn on whatever, and they're doing a day one raid race, and it just looks like they're just not failing. It just looks like they just came 1000% prepared and just know all the things. You see people who, the day a new weapon gets released for, trials or maybe for a nightfall, that not only do they like grind for it, they're like soloing the grandmaster. And things like that, and to come from like an observer, I've always been a player, but like to come from the standpoint of like an audience member and an observer, and to see this perceived perfection, and then to be not necessarily on the other side of it. I'm still growing, the community's growing, we're still in the process, we're not there yet, there's still a lot of goals I want to hit. But to be in a space where I'm like actively putting out content, and to seeing how unperfect everything is so mind-blowing. And not necessarily from the sense of like critiquing other people and the content they're putting out, and who they are as people, but more so that the fact that I I would have gotten into content creation a long time ago if I really just sat here and understood that what I'm going to put out is gonna suck. In one shape or form. It's gonna suck. And the fact that like I have to be able to get to a certain level of comfort, of not like complacency, but I do have to get to a certain level of comfort of like failing and doing things not great in order to like get to the levels of perfection, or just excellence, even if you will. The levels of excellence that I saw so many of the creators that I've watched for several years. Some people, they've taken a shift in direction I don't agree with, and I don't really watch them anymore. But there's still a good handful of creators who like are at the top of their game and have been at the top of the game for a while. And so for me, as much as I think that's like a great story to like offer and tell, I've really been thinking a lot, especially as we're closing out at the end of the last season. which was Season of the Plunder, and then going into this season, Season of the Seraph, of just like what would it look like to like more actively fail in public. Like I'm thinking about the guides I want to put out there. I'm thinking about like the walkthroughs, the discussion pieces, the community social discussions. If you've looked at my YouTube channel, you kind of see all those different types of content I put out, and I feel good about that content. I feel like there's areas where I'm growing each time, but like actively like not trying to come from a place of this has to be perfect, but coming from, and not like this has to be perfect and that I have to be perfect, but that I can just be like humane and like that sounds weird, but I could like be human, right? I can fail, I can like fuck up, I can like not solo on the first try, right? And the reason I kind of specifically bring up that example or just mention that reference is that um since Season of the Seraph started and then the new dungeon Spire of the Watcher dropped a couple of days ago, I've been like eagerly just bashing my head against the wall trying to get this solo flawless clear, and I have been failing. There's a couple mods I just haven't had unlocked, and it's just been, just really hard to like get through the encounter. The dungeon itself is not that hard, but the perfection, the excellence that is needed at this point in the season, not only being like under leveled, but then also not having certain mods unlocked that would make the dungeon super easy, or maybe not super easy, but just easier, it's really kept me from like putting out content. Like, honestly, there's a lot of things I wanted to push out this first week that I just didn't, because like I was like, oh, how cool would it have been to just like have the solo flawless as like my first video. And then I'm seeing other people put out their solo flawless videos or solo videos. I'm seeing people put out guides for the dungeon, things like that. You know, people are doing kind of first impression videos. They're doing a lot of things that I wanted to do in the first week and that I actually had prep to do. I've been prepping since the like last 3 weeks of Season of the Plunder. I've been scripting things, I've been putting things out, but I really kept hitting this internal struggle, this wall, just being vulnerable of just like, just these people are doing it a certain type of way and they're doing it at a certain type of level. And if I can't meet that level, then I just might as well not put it out, right? And the fact that like I was so concerned with failing in public and to get to a spot, and the kind of questions like, okay, then what changed? Well, to get to a spot where like I attempted, I think 13 going on 14 different times, um, soloing the dungeon. I finally did solo the dungeon, but what ended up happening was Bungie, the servers, whatever, didn't count it, right? So like I counted the clear. Like, so if you go on my like dungeon report, you'll see that I got the clear. You'll see that I did it by myself. Um, but the triumph never unlocked for whatever reason. And for me, I was like, I've been banging my head against the wall to try and get this triumph, to just try and show, like, put my best foot forward, to try and like get to this place of like perfection. And there's not even really anything to show for it, because like I can't claim the triumph. I can't like actually like show off the thing I want to show off, and it really just like hit home. Beyond like moving past like the frustration of that happening, and then it just means I'll have to go and solo the dungeon again. But just really being in a space of was like, if nothing else, how can this be a wake up call for like who I want to be in this community? If I say that my motto is game, learn, grow, if I say that like I want to be a leader who like is not afraid to like fail and grow and get better, um in public with alongside community members, what does it look like for my content as well? Like not just in the words that I'm saying, but also in the content that I'm putting out there. That again, my I maybe I don't upload a guide that gets 100,000 views in the first 2 hours of being live. Maybe that's just not where I'm at right now. But me comparing myself to others, me comparing myself to a level of perfection that really is unattainable for anybody, right? Just trying to just be absolutely perfect. Um, allowing perfect, the saying goes, allowing perfect to be the enemy of the good. And so, as we start off the season with this first episode, as we think about this next steps going forward, that's something that's the question on my mind and a question I have for you all. What's keeping you from getting to where you want to go?